Your father was an actor, wasn't
Yes.
he? So were you always going to be an actor, or was that?
Well, that was the plan, but plans derail, and there was always a plan B. But yeah, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, because you turned down Neighbours first of all,
I
didn't
did,
you?
on my father's advice, actually, which turned to be the right advice, because I'm sure maybe I might have followed the role through, because it was picked up by another network in Australia, but yeah, no, fortune came into my hands, and then I finished my schooling, which was the most important thing.
Yeah. Because you've been running sort of twin careers since then, haven't you? Because you're still a pop star, still making records, still touring as a singer.
I don't know whether I'm a pop star. I think my currency on the charts these days is more to do with the fact of memories for many people back in 1989. But occasionally I pull that sort of those attributes out,
You're still touring though, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I still tour a lot, but I'm very fortunate. In fact, I did a very successful tour this year, profiling that album, that big record from 1989, 10 Good Reasons. But the wonderful thing to be able to do is to have a career that isn't just reliant on that moment. Things like Million Dollar Quartet or King's Speech or Priscilla or this other theatre career that I have.
Yeah, King's Speech. I saw you in King's Speech. I thought you were very good in King's Speech.
Thank you. Did you come to the Rep?
I came to the Rep.
Yeah,
I thought it was an excellent production.
It was. I thought it was great.
And was that your first straight? I mean, there's not.
No. I have done. Lots of plays, but that probably was the most significant.
And what about this one? I mean, what's this?
Well, this is an acting role for me. This isn't a singing role, but it's a nice way of combining, what is a musical theatre piece and, following the line through the show as a sort of a character who slightly narrates the piece, but is interlocked in the actual performance. And yeah, it's an interesting character. Sam Phillips was a guy who started a company called Sun Records back in 1950s. He was considered to be the father of rock and roll. He was an entrepreneur, a businessman, a producer, and he really gave birth to characters like Elvis and Carl Perkins and Jerry Lee Lewis and Roy Orbison. So he was a big character. Went against the grain.
Did you know an awful lot about it before this show?
No, I didn't actually. I've never really been that fascinated in that period of music. But I have to say, when we did our first sort of photo shoot, I really got a taste for the fun. It was a great rehearsal period, notwithstanding the fact that I have pages and pages of dialogue, but it certainly was. It's certainly been a lot of fun to give birth to.
And what's the show like? I mean, is it sort of lively, full of music?
Yeah, it's very upbeat. It's a story of these larger than life pop stars and how they came to the public's awareness, the struggles Sam has to try and keep them in his company the bigger they get. Artists want to expand and go to other people, and he tries to keep the business as it is and keep it afloat. It's a parallel. It's like a play with music. I sort of think, in a way.
So it's not your typical jukebox musical.
Well, it is a jukebox music. I'm not going to shy away from that, and it's full of a lot of facts and content. But it is, it centres around this one day where they all came together at the same time. I don't think everything happened in that one day, but it's a wonderful basis for a story. And it's a musical. I'm not gonna cover that up. So it has all the aspirations of what musicals do. But I just think it's if you're interested in that period of music, you take away some great songs, but a great story and some great information.
And what's next for Jason Donovan?
Well, this goes for a while. This goes sort of till spring next year, on and off. I have a bunch of dates coming up in December of my own tour. That sort of starts mid-December. I don't think we're coming to Birmingham. I think we did the Symphony Hall a couple of times. But we are definitely in that area. What else? I don't know at this point. I really don't know.
Any sort of ambitions? You've done musicals. I mean, I thought you were excellent in Priscilla.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed King's Speech and so on. I've seen you in quite a few things, but there must be something you still
I'd love to do more TV drama and more film and that sort of thing. That's what I'd like to do. Maybe produce some stuff. It's a work in progress.
Because you're still relatively young, aren't you?
Well, I'm sort of, north of 45.
But south of 50.
Thank you, yeah. I try and look after myself. I try and, try and be good to my body. And it's doing 8 shows a week is like being an athlete, really. You have to pace yourself.
Right.
Thank you.
Super. Thanks very much.
Great.